At least we have live classes to keep you uplifted in your spirits and heart rate and whatever else, hamstrings. How is everybody today? I know you can't respond. You're all muted. So I got a thumbs up. Yay. I love it. Got another thumbs up. Makes me happy, makes me happy. So we'll get going. Last week we started standing, so let's start standing again. We're gonna start with just some head rolls. So just taking a moment once you get up to the standing, just feeling your feet on the ground, right? Feeling that big toe, pinky toe, heel on the ground. Feeling your legs on top of those ankles, that pelvis on top of your legs, rib cage on top of your pelvis, head on top of ribs. And just taking a moment to let your head be heavy, right? So as we tip that head forward, it's almost like the dead weight of our head is bringing it forward. And then we're gonna go to the side. And as you go to the side, I really wanna make sure that your focus is still going forward, that we're not rotated. And I want you to think about dropping that other shoulder down. So you might be getting a stretch down the other side. And then kind of reaching up to the back. And as you go to that back space, I want you to lift out of your neck. So I don't want anybody, right, crunching down into that cervical spine. Over to the other side. And then we're just gonna go for 2 more circles this direction. I've been feeling that maybe, we're all kind of in a desk computer life these days. But I feel like with this being at home, we might be in a desk computer life, maybe more so than usual. So just giving ourselves a little bit of a stretch. And then when your chin finds yourself back to your center point or your front point, you're just gonna reverse direction. And always, if you're not quite going the same pace as me, that's fine, right? If you're a couple counts behind, or maybe you're a little bit faster, that's okay. Just paying attention so you know kind of what's coming up. Especially if you kind of get to the side and you're like, wow, that is really tight. I'm gonna give that a little extra tender loving care. We're gonna go for 1 more in this direction. And then we're gonna do some shoulder circles. Nice. And when you're done with that last circle, we're just gonna switch to our shoulders. So thinking about really pulling your shoulders all the way forward, right? So I'm thinking about like the sides of my shoulders getting pulled forward. I'm gonna shrug them up to my ears. I'm gonna pinch my shoulder blades back, and then I'm gonna bring them back down. So just big shoulder circles. We're gonna go for 4. I'm gonna step forward a little bit. My head gets cut off just a smidge, but I think you guys can still see. And then adding elbows. So just adding in that humerus with this. And 1 more. And then adding the full arm. And you're just trying to make that biggest circle you can. Letting those arm bones internally, externally rotate. And 1 more big circle, and then we're gonna reverse it. But we're gonna reverse it with our arms. So we're reversing the direction, but we're also reversing the pattern. Reaching as far back as you can. Yep. And 1 last one. Going back to your elbows. Two more. And then going back to shoulders. Nice. And then just taking a moment, let those shoulders be heavy, let them slide down the back of your rib cage. And we're gonna go for roll downs. I'm just gonna turn so you can see side profile. So thinking about chest or head being heavy. And then thinking about lifting up in your abdominals as you're going. So you're almost resisting this roll down, right? Abdominals are lifting. It's almost like my thighs are on one side of the fence and I'm trying to reach up and over the other side of the fence. Taking a nice big inhale in at the bottom. Letting your knees relax as much as you need to for your body. And then just taking a moment to make sure that you're more in the balls of your feet, not in the heels of your feet. Usually when we shift to our heels, we get our hips behind our ankles, and I want my hips directly over my ankles. Rolling up, taking a nice big inhale in. Exhale, scooping your abdominals, bending your knees as much as you need to for your body. Nice, we're gonna repeat it, and this time we're gonna go out into a nice downward dog. So letting that head be heavy, thinking about that belly lifting as you're rolling down, letting those shoulders relax. Bending your knees at the bottom as much as you need to for your body. And then just take a moment before we go out to downward dog, let your head be heavy. Let it shake yes, let it truly be dead weight. Let it shake no. And then bending your bending your hands. You are kind of bending your hands. Bending your knees as much as you need to walk yourself out to a nice downward dog. Thinking about sending those heels down. I'm going to take off my hoodie. Sending those heels down, sending energy through the index fingers, the thumbs. Thinking about those sits bones reaching to the ceiling. Taking those nice big breaths in. And then walking yourself back in. So really thinking about driving through those hands, all the way up those arms, all the way through the shoulders. Letting that heavy, making sure you're not holding any tension in the back of that neck. Take that nice big breath into your ribs. And then think about scooping your abdominals to come up. We're gonna do one more. I'm just gonna switch so it's a side view because I think you guys might need it, or sorry, front view. And letting head be heavy. It starts the exact same way. When we get to the bottom, we're gonna take a really wide stance. Letting those shoulders relax. Those abs are still lifting. Here, let your knees bend as much as you need to get your hands down on the ground, and then you're going to toe heel walk yourself out to an exaggerated, a very wide athletic stance, right? Where if you were on ice, you'd be like, oh, I would slip. So now, once you're here in this wide athletic stance, you're going to bend one knee and keep one leg straight. And I'm going to walk my hands over to the straight leg side. So here, you might be getting a stretch on your side body, right? That's reaching. You might be getting a stretch on the outside of the leg that's bent. You might be getting a stretch on the inner thigh of the leg that's straight, or all of the above. And then coming center, and just switching it over to the other side. So now I'm going to let the other knee bend. It's like I'm almost pulling back into this hip. Right? So I don't want to be favoring my knee. I want to pull back into the hip, and I'm reaching my arms really long. You can even kind of grab a hold of the floor. So you get that nice side body stretch. And then walk yourself back center. Again, here you want to load through your hands to kind of release from your feet, and you're going to toe, heel, walk yourself back until you're in that hip width stance. I can turn. Taking a moment to truly let that head be heavy. Let that torso be heavy. Thinking about filling your ribs with air. And then thinking about scooping your abdominals to roll back up. Nice. This one's going to take us out to a high plank, so I'm just going to get on my mat. So one last one, going all the way down to a high plank, which will take us all the way down to the floor. Head's heavy, abdominals are lifting. It's your fourth roll down. Can you find a little bit more space in between those vertebrae by scooping those abdominals? Hands down on the ground as much as they need to, and then walking those hands out. Going all the way to a nice high plank. Taking a moment to turn into that high plank, right? So I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to lift my belly. I'm going to pull those shoulders away from my ears. I'm going to think about energy out the top of my head, energy out my tailbone, and I'm going to slowly lower down all the way to my belly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Just push back into a quick child's pose, and then we're going to go into our quadruped. So quick child's pose. Again, Brendan, your knee probably isn't going to love child's pose, so you can be more at a 90-degree angle, and you still can get a nice stretch where your hips are going to be a little bit higher and you're dropping your chest down. There might be some other knee people in the group, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. All right, quadruped position, nice cat-cows. So setting that up so that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, top of your head's reaching long, and your tailbone's reaching long. So thinking about those 2 points, really reaching for each other. And for me and my cat-cows, I really like to focus on the part of the back that doesn't naturally curve that way, right? So as I go into my cow, I'm trying to find that extension in my upper back, because it's fighting against its natural curve. And then as I go into my cat, I'm really thinking about those abdominals pulling into my lower back, because that's fighting against that natural curve. And then we're just going to repeat. Connecting this to your breath, thinking about bellies lifting. Let's go for 3 more. Really thinking about the 2 ends of the spine, right? The very top of the head and the tailbone, they're finding each other in one direction. They're moving away from each other to go through neutral spine, and then they're finding each other in the other direction. 2 more. And last one. Nice. From here, going back to your neutral spine, so think about the top of the head and the tailbone reaching away. I want you to think about that belly lifting, right? So I haven't changed my spine. It's not relaxed. I'm lifting my belly, but I haven't changed my spine. So I'm turning on that transverse abdominis. I'm stepping back into a nice high plank. Oh, we're doing again that nice slowly lowering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way down, uncurl those toes. We're going into Swan. So I'm going to have you take your arms out to a nice high diagonal. Your head's going to be down. My head's just going to be lifted so you can hear me. So as you set this up, I want you to think about pressing your pubic bone and your hip bones down into the ground, right? So you're anchoring through the front of your pelvis. You're going to think about lifting that belly, which I just briefly mentioned in our quadruped, but I haven't changed my spine, so I haven't gone into a tuck, right? I'm just pulling that belly button in. I'm going to come up into my swan, so I'm going to take a nice big inhale in. Exhale, I'm thinking about the very top of my head reaching long to come up as I slide those shoulder blades down the back of my rib cage, and I'm kind of dragging my pinky fingers into the ground. Here I'm still lifting in my belly. I haven't just let that go. And then I'm going to take a nice big inhale. Exhale, lower back down. So again, nice big inhale in. Exhale, drag those shoulders down the back of your rib cage. Thinking about those collarbones almost getting pulled through your biceps. See if you can find that fold or that length from your shoulder blades up. We're going for 3 more. Again, thinking about the anchoring in the front of the pelvis. That pubic bone, hip bones are down. That belly is lifted. You're pulling that belly button into your spine to help support that lower back. We have 2 more. And the other image that I like to use for swan is when you're at the top of your swan, you're going to think about your tailbone reaching long, right? So I'm not going to pull my tailbone back towards me. I'm going to reach it long towards my toes. And one last one. And back down. This time when you find yourself back down, again, just putting your hands underneath your shoulders, pushing back to a quick child's pose. So let that spine go in the other direction. Just quick, quick, quick. And then making your way back to your belly. We're going to do donkey kicks, but we're going to do them prone today. So you're going to be all the way down on your belly. And you can do hands on top of hand and then forehead on top of your hands. Again, I'm just going to have my head lifted, the least to begin with, so you can see what I'm doing. So here, you're going to bring one leg up so your ankles over your knee. And the other thing I want you to focus on is the same side hip bone presses into the ground. So as I bring this up, I'm not going to let this hip bone pop, right? So I'm going to think about that hip bone pressing into the ground. And then I'm going to think about pressing up to the ceiling and then back down. So again, the distance your legs are apart is going to change depending on how tight you are anteriorly. So I have to go a little bit wider. Some of you might be able to get your legs really close. So here we go. We're going to bring our right ankle up over our knee. I'm thinking about that right hip bone pressing into the ground. I'm pulling at my belly to support my lower back. And I'm going to kick up to the ceiling for 10 and 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let that knee come down. Let extend. So your hamstring should be saying hello. And then we're just going over to the other side. So left ankle comes over left knee, thinking about that left hip bone grounding down into the ground. And we're going to lift for 10 and 9, 8, 7, belly still lifting, you gotta let it go. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let that leg go long, and then let's stretch out those hamstrings. So just making yourself rolling over onto your back. I guess you can make yourself roll over onto your back. Make yourself do it. All right, so we're going to do a hamstring stretch, and you have a choice with the leg that's down. So why don't we start, just so everybody's on the same side, let's start with our right leg up, and you're going to hold on to that leg wherever you can hold on to. So it might be the back of your thigh, it might be the back of your calf, it might be your ankle. Your other leg can either stay bent, or it can go straight, right? You're going to get more of a hip opener if you're straight. You might get a deeper hamstring stretch if you're bent. So, you know, pick what your body wants for you today. You're holding on to the back of that leg wherever you can, and your foot should just be relaxed. Now you're thinking about your shoulders being relaxed. You're trying not to hold any tension actually anywhere in your body. So this needs to be here. You're not forcing it. You're going to actively pull your toes towards your nose, and that's going to increase that stretch. So now I'm really doing a nice hard flex on that foot. Then I'm going to let that foot relax, just let it relax. And then I'm going to try to bring that leg even closer, right? So some of you might get a lot of movement out of it. Some of you might not get hardly any movement out. So now I'm holding at my new position. I'm breathing. I'm trying not to hold any tension in my body. I'm trying to relax into that stretch. I'm going to actively pull my toes towards my nose, which is going to increase that stretch. And I'm trying not to necessarily pull out of it. So only going as far as you can tolerate. Breathing into it. Let that foot relax, and then bring that leg even closer. So I wasn't holding out on you guys. I could have gotten to this point of the stretch at the beginning, right? So that kind of the flexing and the pointing of the foot changes, kind of tricks the the central nervous system. And then just let that knee hug into your chest, and then send that leg either down to a bent leg or a straight leg. I'm pulling out my pants so you can see what's going on. And then again, so we're just switching over to the other leg, holding on wherever you can hold on to, where you're getting that stretch, but you're not forcing it, right? So I don't want anybody yanking or pulling. Breathing into it, you're trying to relax into it. And then actively pulling those toes towards your nose so you have a nice flex into that foot. Again, breathing. That's going to increase that stretch. You might feel it anywhere in the back of your calf, your hamstring, up your back. Then let your foot relax, and then bring that leg closer. And here, just continue to let the foot relax. We're letting the body adjust kind of to its new position. And then actively pulling those toes back towards your nose. Nice hard flex in that foot. Breathing, we're gonna hold it for about 2 to 3 breaths. Then let that foot relax and then bring that leg closer. And again, once you've brought it closer, just let that foot relax. I don't need that extra tension on it. Nice, let that knee kind of hug into your chest. And we're gonna do single leg circles. So let's go back to the right leg up. And before I get there, just bring that right leg up so it's bent. I don't need it extended yet. I want you to focus on the left leg. And I want you to think about digging that heel into the ground and reaching that hamstring for the ground, right? Your hamstring might not actually get there, but I want you to think about anchoring through that left side. We're gonna take our hands down by the sides and let's do palms facing up. So we can think about nice wide collarbones. Now we're gonna take that right leg up. If you're somebody who does not have that hamstring mobility, right? You can be a bent leg or you can even be tabletop with this. We're gonna do our single leg circles. We're gonna go across our body first. We're gonna take a nice big inhale across and then exhale, circle around. Inhale across, exhale, circle around. And as we're doing this, our hips should not be rocking and rolling, right? So they should be really anchored on both back sides of the hip. When you come back to your center position, you're gonna reverse. You're gonna go out and then exhale back in. Inhale as you go away, exhale as you come back in. If your breath pattern is exactly opposite of mine, that's fine, just keep on going. I just want you breathing with the moment or the movement. 2 more. Last one. Nice, hugging that knee into your chest, letting it find the ground, and we're just gonna flip it over to the other side. So again, before we pick up this left leg, right, I'm gonna think about my right leg, heel, digging into the ground, that hamstring, reaching my hands down by my sides, wide collarbones, taking that leg up to the ceiling, connecting it to your breath, nice inhales you cross, exhales you circle around, inhales across, exhales you circle around, inhales across, exhales you circle around. We're gonna go for 3, and 2, and 1, reverse directions, going away, connecting that movement to your breaths, thinking about being anchored in those hips. Mine were getting a little excited, they wanted to go to the hula. They were like, why can't I be in Hawaii? Nope, they have to be anchored. Nice, and then hug that knee into your chest. Right. All right, before we do some evil abs, let's just do some bridges. So bringing those legs into your hip width apart, your hands are gonna be down by your sides. Taking a nice big inhale in, and then I want you to think about scooping your abdominals to come up. So I'm gonna pull my pubic bone up into my ribs, and then I'm gonna think about lengthening my spine as my femurs and kneecaps go forward, making sure that I'm truly parallel, that I don't go wide with my legs. Here at the very top, I still want you to think about pulling that pubic bone to your ribs, right? Because I'm trying to open up the front of my hips. I'm not trying to go collapsing into my lower back. Taking a nice big inhale in, exhale, rolling down. How heavy can you be in your spine? Heavy through the back of those shoulder blades, back of the ribs. Deep pelvic tilt as you try to get that lower back waistline down, and then let that release as your sacrum finds the ground. We're gonna repeat that 2 more times. Nice big inhale in. Exhale, scooping pubic bone up into ribs, sending those femurs long, those kneecaps almost reaching up to a forward diagonal. And then at the top, as you take that inhale in, exhale, be heavy in that spine, like almost like somebody was pushing you down and you're almost resisting that. 1 more, and then we're gonna add an overhead reach. So we're really pulling that pubic bone up into your ribs. Lengthening nice and long. Thinking about that wide base of support between your shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades should not be pinching together, they should be reaching away from each other. Rolling down. Nice. We're gonna go for 3 more. We're just gonna add an overhead reach at the top. So just follow along, it's easy to follow. Nice big inhale in, exhale, thinking about scooping those abdominals, reaching those femurs long. Finding that nice high bridge. Now once you're at the top, floating those arms overhead, up to the ceiling, and then continuing overhead, You may or may not get to the ground with your arms, depending on how much shoulder mobility you have. Thinking almost like somebody's holding onto your wrist and pulling overhead as you roll that spine down. Should feel good. Should feel like a little bit of traction. And then once you get your sacrum back down on the ground, float those arms back down. Yep. And then we're just going to repeat, taking a nice big inhale in. Exhale, scooping those abdominals. Really thinking about how long can you make your spine at the top of your bridge. Floating those arms up to the ceiling. Reaching all overhead. Taking a nice big inhale in. Exhale, rolling down one vertebra at a time. And again, thinking about that heaviness in that torso, that spine. Nice, and then float those arms back. We have one more. Letting that breath help you. Right, thinking that you should always either be inhaling or exhaling, floating those arms up. That at no point you want to be holding your breath. A lot of times when I'm practicing my own Pilates practice and I'm struggling through something, I'll notice that I'm holding my breath. And the minute that I start to breathe again, it becomes a little bit easier, right? And then letting that float down. Nice. Coming up to sitting, we're going to hug those knees into our chest, and we're just going to rock and roll ourselves. So you can take a little time to get up to sitting. Woo. Nice. I'm going to flip around so I can see my little cheat sheet. Spine stretch side. We don't do this one that much. Let's actually do it in diamond legs today. So I'm going to do a little diagonal so you can kind of see front and side with me. And before we go into the spine stretch side, let's give our hips a little bit of a stretch. So holding onto your ankles, I don't want you holding onto your toes because I don't want you pulling your toes towards you. Holding onto those ankles, you're going to think about lengthening through that spine. Your tailbone reaches away from the top of your head. Sure. And then you're going to think about pulling. It's almost like you're trying to lay the front of your pelvis down on the ground, trying to get your chest on your feet. And if you are somebody right where your legs are a little bit elevated, you're going to take those elbows and you're going to press them down. Breathing. Nice, and then coming back up to sitting. Spine stretched forward with diamond legs. Usually do it out in front, but we'll do diamond today. Hands up to the side. So sitting up tall, I have a horrible tendency to tip forward. So I'm gonna really focus, and I want you to think about head over shoulders over hips. Hands out to the side. We're going to reach over to the side, and I want you to think about lifting out of that bottom waistline as you reach over to the side. Shoulders stay stacked. So this top shoulder is not going to come forward. You're going to keep it stacked, and then we're going to keep our head on our spine. That's my favorite, to kind of let it fall off my spine. Thinking about your waistlines bringing you back up, and then you're going to go over to the other side. So it should be a nice side bend stretch, really keeping those shoulders stacked, lifting out that bottom waistline, really sitting up as tall as you can as you transition from one side to the next. Second side, second time. We're going for 3 total. Every time you go, see if you can just get a little bit more reach. Little bit more arc to the side. And one last one. After this, we're going to saw. So once you come back up to returning to sitting, we're going to extend those legs out long. Right, and this is going to be more shoulder width or a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And then if you're somebody, right, that this is a hard position, if you kind of feel like you're sitting here, 2 options. Grab a pillow. If you do have a mat, you can roll it up to give yourself a booster seat, or you can bend your knees slightly, or you can do all the above. So those are our options for saw. We're going to take our hands back out to the side again, right, and we're thinking of that nice long line, head over shoulders, over hips. We're going to think about rotating. Let's go to our left side. Rotate to the left. And then you're going to dive past that pinky toe. As much as you reach forward, you're going to reach back. And your right hip is anchored. Taking a nice big inhale in. Exhale, scooping your abdominals and coming back up. How much can you lift out of your waistline as you rotate and dive forward. So as you dive forward, it's almost like your belly button's getting pulled through to your spine and getting pulled to the back wall. Second side, second time. And again, this is one, check in with your breath. You should either be inhaling or exhaling. You should not be holding your breath. If you're finding that you're holding your breath, start breathing again. Third time, here we go. We're gonna go for 4 total. So again, if you're not quite going my pace, that's fine. If you're going a little bit slower, that's okay. Maybe you're really working on that quality of movement. Maybe this is a really difficult position for you, because I would say this is not necessarily the easiest, especially for our inflexy people. Last one. Nice. Back, center, roll downs. So now we're going to bring our legs together. I'm going to just move so I'm a side view. Roll downs. Legs can be bent. Legs can be straight. Legs can move through bent or straight. So you'll find that I kind of like to do this, the third version, a little bent and straight. So hands are out to the side, taking that nice big inhale in. Thinking about trying to keep, I'll switch hands so you can see what's going on. Keeping that spine as long as you can as you scoop those abdominals, shoulders away from your ears and rolling down. Here we are going to float those arms overhead, but as you float them overhead, I don't want you popping your ribs, right? So you're going to think about staying heavy through those ribs, taking a nice big inhale in, exhale, chin to chest, roll up. Thinking about bringing each vertebra off the ground at a time. And then sitting up tall and trying to get on top of those sits bones, shoulders away from your ears. Again, remember, you can always do bent legs. I'll do one with bent legs. And at any point, you have to hold on to those thighs. If you feel like you're falling through part of it or tossing through part of it, I'd rather have you grab all those thighs and work yourself through it instead of toss through it or fall if you're going down. 2, we have 4 more. Really thinking about scooping those abdominals. Can you find a little bit more articulation through that spine every single time you roll down and every single time you roll up? This is another easy one that it's easy to hold your breath at a sticking point, so try to exhale through those sticking points. Halfway through, we have 3 more. All the way down. Thinking about that heaviness in the back of those ribs as you go for that overhead reach, nice chin to chest. Reaching through those fingertips and those toes, right? As you're coming up. Thinking about sending energy to that front wall, wherever your front wall is. 2 more. Chin to chest, using that exhale to help you, especially right at that difficult transition. Peeling that upper back to the lower back is usually where people get stuck. Last one. Yes. Nice. Okay. All right. Sitting up tall, we're going to do the whole ab series, all 5 exercises. I'll talk you through it the first time. We'll probably do it twice. This is also called the vacation series, because if you do it while you're on vacation, you'll stay nice and strong. So since we can't be on vacation, let's do the vacation series. I'm going to hold on to my left leg, and I'm going to kind of help this get me into the nice upper ab curl to begin with. So I'm holding on to the back of my left leg. I'm going to scoop those abdominals. I'm going down to the point where my waistline is touching, but my upper back is off the ground, and then I'm going to reach my other leg long. I'm going to take, let's do both hands on knees, just make it easy, and then you're going to switch. This is going to be 9, and 8, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, you're going to stay up after your 1 and kind of grab a hold of your shins, lift a little higher. Both arms and legs reach away and circle back around for 6, and 5, And 4. Really thinking about that belly pulling in as you reach away. 3. And 2. Last 1. Stay up, straight legs. You're going to pulse, pulse, and switch. Pulse, pulse, switch. Wherever you can hold on to the back of that leg, you might be lower, but every time you pulse, you're going to try to lift your chest a little bit higher. We're going to call this 5. I'm somewhere around there. 4. 3. 2. Last one, you're still going to stay high. Hands go behind your head. Support your head. Wide elbows. Send those legs as far away as you can. Lower back stays on the ground. And exhale, bring them back for 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. Last 1. Right knee bends in, left leg reaches long. Left armpit to right knee. And switch. It's the last one. It's the 5th one. Here we go. This is 9. And 8. And 7. And 6. And 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Hug those knees into your chest. Nice job. Don't you feel like you're on vacation? The vacation series, also known as the ab series. All right, let's give you a stretch since I tortured you with all 5 of them. On your side, knees are going to be in line with hips. They are stacked. One of my favorite stretches. Top arm, pinwheel arms. Is going to reach up and over. As I start to go in the back space, I want to keep my knees stacked, right? So I don't want this top knee to roll back. I'm taking my focus with me. So here at Training to be Balanced, I'm looking back at the springboard. I'm thinking about this chest opening. I'm trying to find that rotation in my rib cage. Circling back down. We're going to go for 3 giant circles in this direction. And you'll notice I naturally kind of put my hand on my top knee. Kind of just a nice gentle reminder that I don't want that top knee moving off my bottom knee. You don't have to. I just naturally kind of do it. And the reason why we do that is we want to stabilize our hips. That stabilizes our lumbar spine because we want to work on our thoracic spine. So that's why we're doing that. That's really where we want the majority of our rotation to come from, is our thoracic spine, that mid-back, all that stuff attached to your rib cage. So now all I'm doing is just changing the direction of the circle. I'm reaching down towards my toes first. I'm still taking my focus with that arm, right? So as it kind of circles around, I'm following it with my focus. I have one more, and again, if you're not quite on the same timing as me, that's fine. You might find, you might be going through this, you might find a part of your circle where you're like, whoa, baby, oh, I just want to hold that for a second. It's okay, hold it for a second. Listen to your body. Nice. Well, what we did to one side, we have to do to the other. So you can roll over, I'm just gonna flip so I don't give you my back side. I'm gonna flip. So here we go. Knees in line, arms out in front. And also, since you guys are at home, if you really feel like your head's kind of dropped down, you can always go find yourself a pillow. Right? If you feel like you need to support your head a little bit more, there's probably a pillow somewhere. On a bed, on a couch. We're gonna go 3 one direction, 3 the other. Sorry, moving really slowly through that part. I said this last week. Since we're doing so much body weight stuff, since we're at home and we don't have the luxury of all the equipment, right? A lot of push-ups have been coming up, which is great. I love push-ups. But it's also good to stretch those muscles out. Reversing. Right there. Oh yeah, that's stretching my push-up muscles. Also known as your pec major. And 2. Everybody, I think the vacation series was such a big hit. We're going to do it again. You already knew that was going to happen, though. You already knew. I think we should do it right after this so we get it out of the way before we do our side legs. All right. I'm going to get rid of my pillow. We started from sitting the last time we did that. So let's rock and roll ourselves up to sitting again. All right. There's 5 of them. You can count them down. Most of the double leg stuff is 5. All the single leg stuff is 10. So holding on, let's do the back of the right leg. Scooping those abdominals, thinking about getting your waistline down, but your shoulder blades lifted lightly to the other. Transfer so hands are on top of your knees, and you're gonna switch for 10, and 9, and 8, 7, belly's pulling in, 6, shoulders are relaxed, 5, chin to chest, 4, 3, or think about tucking your chin, 2, last one, and then hug onto the top of your shins, and then everything moves away. Try not to drop your chest for 6, and 5, and 4, 3. Try to lift a little bit higher every single time you come in. Last one. Right leg goes long, hold onto the back, lift a little higher. You're gonna pulse, and switch. Pulse. This is gonna be 9. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Hands go behind your head, thinking about wide elbows, like you're almost pushing your head into your hands into your head. Sending those legs long, and then exhale, bring them back up. 4, 5, 4, lower back stays glued to the ground. If you can't keep them down, then don't go so low. 2, after this we have our bicycle. Let's bring that left leg in. Right arm grip to it, and then switch, and switch. 4, 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Hug those knees in. Lower back down. Woo! We did it twice, the vacation series. All right, sideline legs. Yeah, sorry, I had to figure out what I was doing here. So, pick a side, any side. I don't care. And your head's going to be resting on your bicep. You're going to stack your hips, right? So this is not like watching TV where you're going to be relaxed in your side bodies. You're lengthening this top one, you're lifting this bottom one. There should be a little arc down here. And your feet are going to be slightly out in front of you. And for today, let's actually keep our hand on our hip. And I want you to almost think about pulling that hip away from your waistline, right? That top leg is going to lift. And toes are pointing forward. We're about hip height. And then we're going to lift for 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that leg lifted, and then you're going to think about squeezing something between your inner thighs and bring the bottom leg up to meet it for 10, and 9, and 8. Hips should still be stacked. I shouldn't have rolled back. And 6, and 5, and 4, 4, and believe it, your bottom waistline should still be lifted. 2, 1, squeeze those legs, keep them lifting, and lift both for 10, and 9, and 8, 7, hips should still be stacked, I shouldn't have to roll back, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bottom leg can find the ground. Your top knee is going to come up. It's still not touching the ground. And then you're going to kick behind you. As you kick behind you, you're going to pull up in your abs. So I don't want to see this hip go back, nor do I want to see you hyperextend. And bring it back in for 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, 4, 3, my butt's burning, how's yours doing? 2, last one, oh, you're almost there, keep that leg extended back, you're gonna lift and lower it like you're tracing your heel up a wall behind you. Oh, turn on my core, I let it go, for 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo. Let's stretch that butt cheek out. Top hand comes down to the ground. Bottom knee comes forward. Pushing myself up. My top leg is going to swing around because I'm trying to get that butt cheek to stretch. If you can sit here with both butt cheeks down, that's where you're going. If you're kind of lifted in this one, then you're going to extend your bottom leg out. Yep. And then really lengthening through that spine. And then hugging that knee in with your opposite elbow. And then just watch that you're not holding tension in your shoulders, right? Or rolling back. So I'm really trying to sit on top of my pelvis and lengthen through that spine. We're getting close to the end. We have the whole leg series on the other side. That might be it. That might be what we have today. I think you're probably okay with that. We need to do the vacation series twice. All right, let's see if I can remember everything I did. Ugh, you know, I make a cheat sheet. Doesn't mean I follow it always. So here we are, we're on the other side. I'm gonna pull up my pants really quickly. Legs are slightly in front of you. Thinking about those waistlines. Top one's lengthened, bottom one's lifted. And we're gonna start with our little leg lowers for 10. As you're lifting, I want your toes pointing forward. So I'm not gonna let those toes start to rotate up because I really wanna try to stay parallel. This is gonna be 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep that leg lifted, and then you're gonna squeeze that bottom leg up for 10, 9, 8, hips stay stacked, bottom leg stays lifted. Oh, it's a struggle for me. 5, 4, you're not alone. 3, or maybe you totally rock this. 2, last one, keep those legs squeezing together. You're gonna lift both, like that bottom leg's pushing up that top leg for 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bottom leg finds the ground. We bring this top knee up, and then we're going to stomp behind us for 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5. Abs are still pulling in. I'm not hyperextending in my lower back. 3, 2, 1. Keep it back there. You're going to lift and lower like your heel's tracing a wall behind you for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I was just checking that my hips were stacked. Hopefully yours are too. Bring those knees in. Let's stretch out that butt cheek. So top hand comes down, bottom knee comes forward, pushing yourself up. Top leg is going to swing up and over bottom leg. If you can't keep both sits bones down, extend that bottom leg. Thinking about really sitting up tall, right? So I'm not collapsing down. I'm going to get on the top of my sits bones, lengthening through that spine, really hugging that knee into your chest. Relaxing those shoulders. Breathe, baby, breathe. Charlie just came in, that's why I nodded my head. He asked me a question. Probably like, why is Allison nodding your head? Let that leg unhook. Let's roll on over to a nice quadruped position. Let's step back into that nice high plank. Oh yeah, I think we should do it. I think we should do 10 push-ups before we go. Can I not have chicken head? So I'm going to think about pulling that chin almost into my chest or back to the back of my head for 10, 9, 8. Really thinking about driving through your index fingers. 5, belly's lifting, butt cheeks squeezing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fly those hips back, send those heels down. You're almost there, you're almost to the end line. I guess most people call it a finish line, not an end line, but when you're talking to yourself for the whole class, I know I'm not talking to myself, I know I'm talking to you. Strange things come out of your mouth. Like you're heavy, not holding any tension in the back of that neck. Weight over the balls of your feet. Taking a nice big inhale in, exhale, thinking about scooping those abdominals. Letting those shoulders relax. When those shoulders can slide down the back of the rib cage, let them slide down the back of the rib cage. Nice. I have my head slightly cut off. There we go, that's a little bit better. And then just taking a moment before you go on with the rest of your day to feel that length in your body. Hopefully you feel a little bit taller than you did at the beginning of class. I'm feeling that alignment, thinking about ear over shoulder, shoulder over rib, rib over hip, hip over knee. I don't quite have to go the way at their arms, and knee over ankle. Thanks for joining me today. I love all the participation in the live classes, so we're going to keep those going. We're going to get more up on YouTube, and thanks for joining.